Well, thank you everybody for joining us this evening. There are a couple other folks on the Zoom that I want to introduce real quick, and you'll get a chance to hear from them a little bit later. But tonight joining us along with myself is Vice Principal Sarah Thomas. She's going to be presenting some information as we go through our slides, as well as our school nurse Sasha Lopez Nusser. And so she's going to be sharing some information as well. So first, I want to thank all of the families who completed our survey and shared information with us, not only about their child's desire to either return to in-person learning or continue learning online, but also sharing any questions or comments that you have. So tonight is really about hopefully answering a lot of those questions you have and making sure that you and your students feel prepared to return on April 12th. So as we begin, I want to start with a quote that's really been resonating with me, and this is a quote that I've shared with our teaching staff. And it's a quote by Chris Costello that says, every journey starts with that first step, along with the desire to achieve something, even if you can't totally see it yet. And certainly in a time when information seems to be changing fairly rapidly, it's been so crucial for us to hold on to that idea of achieving something. And when we think about what it is we're trying to achieve, it's to try to bring students safely back to Claremont High School. So there will be bumps along the way. We are not a perfect admin team, although the folks I get to work with are pretty darn amazing. But at the end of the day, all of this is to support our students and to support our community. So we appreciate the space and grace to make some mistakes, but ultimately do everything we can to get kids back here to campus safely. So a couple quick things I wanted to share kind of about the agenda for this evening. We're really breaking it down into 3 sections. There was a CHS reopening video that we sent out to students and to families. And I know some folks said they had some issues with that. So we want to make sure we give you all a chance to look at that video tonight. And then after reviewing the nearly 600 comments and questions that parents shared with us, we had the ability to break those down into some of the trends that we were seeing across the board. And so what we want to do is answer some of those questions that maybe were not answered in the video, that were more specific to parent requests or things that parents or students were interested in. And then we want to round out our evening with an opportunity for you to ask any questions that maybe are burning items for you or for your family. So with that being said, I'm going to shift us to our reopening video.
Hey Claremont, this is Principal Williams with some important information about Phase 2 reopening. First of all, we are so excited to welcome students and staff back to in-person learning on Monday, April 12th for the start of the 4th quarter of the school year. Now, whether you're a student that is continuing to learn online or a student coming back to in-person learning, we want you to know that we support your decision. We believe that families should have the right to choose what's best for their child. This video is intended to provide you with all the necessary information to safely transition back to in-person learning. So let's get started. First things first, if you're on campus, masks must be worn at all times. This is true for students, teachers, and staff. Remember that masks need to cover your nose, mouth, and chin, and that neck gaiters and bandanas are not approved, so please plan accordingly. Second, I know how excited you all are to see one another and to see your teachers as well, and we're excited to see you guys too. But in order to adhere to health and safety guidelines, we simply can't have students hugging, congregating, high-fiving, or fist bumping. Social distancing will be enforced at all times, both in the classroom and outside as well. CHS will continue to follow the same bell schedule that we have been following for this entire school year. Whether you are in person or online, first period will continue to begin promptly at 8:50 a.m. and second period will start at 10:55 a.m. This bell schedule can be found on our school website under the About CHS tab. April 12th marks the start of quarter 4. CHS has made every effort to keep student schedules the same as they were originally projected to be. We encourage all students to check their schedule in PowerSchool and reach out to your counselor if you have any questions. After reviewing the results of our Phase 2 survey, we've determined that all students who wish to return to in-person learning will be able to do so for 4 days a week. Students who come to campus for in-person learning will attend Monday through Thursday from 8:50 to 12:55. Students who wish to learn online will Zoom into their classes Monday through Thursday. Then on Fridays, all students will complete their learning online at home. For the teachers at Claremont, providing students at home and in person simultaneous instruction is a brand new practice. So we appreciate your patience and grace as we work to provide students with rigorous and relevant educational experiences, whether they're learning at home or in person.
Hey students, this is Vice Principal Thomas, and I want to share with you some important information about entering and exiting campus. All students will enter campus through a single point of entry, just to the right of the front office. Get out your student ID card because you're going to have a contactless entry point as a check-in process. By simply scanning this ID, underneath the scanner, it'll check you right in and it'll tell you that you're good to go to class. Now, if you don't have a student ID, what I need you to do is go ahead and just type in your student ID number here, click next on the screen, and then you can go to campus, you can go to your class as well. Now, any ID will work as long as it's from San Diego Unified. It could be your middle school ID, it could be a couple years before in high school ID, because your barcode never changes. Now, if you don't have a school ID, we will make sure to give you an opportunity your first week back to get you one. For students who are new to CHS, who are not familiar with our campus, CHS has a map of all the classrooms located on our website. Our campus map can be found under the About CHS tab by clicking on Campus and Facilities. Simply match the room number for your class in Power School with its location on the map. Once you get to your class, be sure to have your ClearPass app ready to go to show your teacher. Students may choose to complete the daily symptoms checklist instead if you don't have your phone, which we will have on our website. A link to the ClearPass app can be found on our website, or when you walk in to scan your student ID, there's a QR code ready to go for you.
Hey Chieftains, this is Vice Principal Master Demas, and I am so excited to welcome you back to campus. Students who are late to school will enter through the front office. Our school attendance clerk, Miss Lacey Peretta, will be here to assist you if you have any questions. If you don't have any questions, just simply scan your student ID at the contactless check-in kiosk right here to my left before you enter the main campus. After you scan your ID, you'll want to hit Late Tardy Check-in on the screen. And a tardy slip will print out. And you'll give that to your teacher along with a ClearPass screen or your contact symptom checklist.
Hello, Chieftains. I'm Claudia Victorino, Head Counselor. I work with students LI through Z. Today, I'm going to share with you that being prepared is half the battle. So here's a list of things to bring with you every day. An approved face mask, a fully charged district-issued Chromebook or personal laptop, any textbooks or classroom materials, your student ID, a jacket or sweater, and for athletes, any equipment you will need for either practice or games.
Hi students, I'm Heidi Fulton and I work in the front office. And in order for us to minimize the amount of social contact, we have implemented directional hallways. Welcome back. Our directional hallways will move in a counterclockwise direction around each of our buildings. The hallways will also be clearly marked by signage on the ground. Hey, we understand that this may be difficult with so many students on campus, but we ask that everyone adhere to the social distancing policies because safety is everyone's responsibility.
Students who need to use the restroom must first get permission from their teacher to do so. They are then to go directly to the restroom. More than one student may use the restroom at a time, but masks are required, social distancing must be adhered to, and we will abide by the maximum occupancy posted on the front of each bathroom door. CHS has placed hand washing stations all over campus. We encourage students to wash their hands regularly, either in one of our restrooms or at one of the hand washing stations.
Hi, my name is Modesta and I run the kitchen. And I'm here to let you know how
things are going to happen when you come back to school on April 12th. When you are out of second period, you're going to come up to the cafeteria and you can pick out a bag, and it's free for everybody. There's no numbers, there's no cost, no nothing. You just pick them up and go to your car, go to the bus, or go to wherever you are going to go. But all this is free, and all you have to do is just grab and go.
Hello there, fellow chieftains. I'm Mrs. Lopez Messer, but everybody at Claremont calls me Nurse Sasha. I work Monday through Friday when everybody's here. There are a variety of ways that you can get a hold of me for any health-related concerns. I work with email, telephone, Zoom appointments, and my website has all kinds of data on it that is helpful if I'm helping another person out at the time you need help. One of the new things during the COVID pandemic is that I'll be touching bases with all students who might have symptoms of COVID or illness. So please make sure you feel comfortable with getting a hold of me. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Safety coming back during a pandemic is all of our responsibility. We're there to help each other out.
Hey chieftains, my name is Christian Ramirez, counselor at Claremont High School. I work with last names A through L, E. There are a few ways you can request to speak with your counselor. If it is an emergency, please ask your teacher to either call myself or Ms. Victorino, and we will come to class to get you for an in-person employment. For all non-emergency employments, please use the counseling appointment request form located on the school's website under the counseling tab.
Chieftains, I'm Miss Rush, your Academy Coordinator, and I'm going to talk to you for just a minute today about what to do if you are taking a bus to school. So, just so you know, all drop-offs will be at 8:15 a.m. and it'll either be on Modoc Street or in the main parking lot. Either way, though, you are all going to still enter through our single entry point, which is our main gate by the flagpole in front office. All buses will depart from CHS at 1:15, and you will receive communication from our district about your specific drop-off and pickup locations.
Students experiencing issues with their district-provided Chromebook should reach out to the district's online learning technical support line at 619-732-1400. This line is open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. This number can also be found in Mr. Williams' weekly swag, as well as on the district's main webpage. Students with either a home period or a Mesa College class that would like to work on campus are cleared to do so, so long as they check in at the kiosk located at the front of the school and go directly to the CHS library. Keeping our students and staff safe is our #1 priority. Thank you for your help in making this transition back to in-person learning a success. We look forward to seeing you on April 12th. And until then, keep it orange and blue, chieftains.
All righty. So I know he's not here, but I want to give a huge shout out to Mr. Darren Sparks, who is our video production teacher here at Claremont, for helping us out with that video. We did send that video out to all of the students at their sandy.net emails, as well as all of the families. So what we could definitely use as parents is your help in making sure your child watches this video. I know some of the teaching staff shared it during class time, but we did receive some survey results from our students, and a lot of the questions that they asked are answered in that video. So we're encouraging students to watch that definitely before April 12th when they return. And then if they have any questions, they can certainly reach out to anyone on the admin team, the counseling staff, their teachers, anyone in the front office. All righty. So I wanted to go over something that some families had some questions about. When we originally sent out our information about our return to in-person learning, there was the possibility that based on the number of students who indicated they wanted to return, in order to ensure stable groupings and abide by the social distancing requirements, that we may have needed to have students come in 2 different groups, and we were going to break those down by last name. Based on the number of students who indicated that they wanted to return at this point, that's not needed. And so the schedule that you see in front of you, and Ms. Thomas is going to put that in the chat for us so you can take a look at that. And this is going to be shared with all of the students in the syllabus for their Q4 with each of their teachers. But essentially, students who want to return to in-person learning are going to be able to do so from Monday through Thursday. So we won't have them switching days. We won't have students split by their last name. I know a lot of the students in the comments or questions when we originally showed some of the different schedules had some concerns about, wanting to be with their friends who maybe had a last name that put them in a different group. So they can rest at ease. All students who wish to return will be able to come back Monday through Thursday. And then all students, both our in-person learners and our online or at-home learners, will be Zooming from home on Fridays. And so that's going to be our schedule for the remainder of this school year.
For those of you who have students who wish to return to campus, for our in-person learning, they must have a completed parent acknowledgement of on-site instruction form on file here at Claremont. If the families do not return this completed form prior to the start of on-site instruction, the child will not be permitted on campus until the form is received. Information on how to download this form and submit it were sent to families both in English and Spanish last week. We will be sending out an email for confirmations to all of our families later on this afternoon, confirming either the receipt of the opt-in form or requesting the forms from families who have yet to submit them. At this time, a lot of questions that we were fielding were asking, can they switch between in-person and online? To ensure that we maintain our stable groupings, we're only allowing students who have selected to learn in person to switch back to online learning if they so choose. We do ask that prior to making the switch, the students and families reach out to one of us administrators to discuss the change. The admin team will then notify the students, teachers of the change. Unfortunately, if a student has already said that they are not, they want to learn online, at this time, we cannot accept any in-person changes currently. That doesn't mean it can't happen later, but if you do want to make a switch, please notify admin and we'll get in touch with you.
Hi there. Again, this is Nurse Sasha. So COVID testing began quite a while ago on our campus to support athletics and staff needs. And so I want you to know we've been in partnership with UCSD. Testing had been on Friday afternoons. It is now switching to Thursday afternoons. I see a lot of families of our athletes in this meeting. So I just want to make sure if they haven't heard from their coach already to please switch it to the Thursday afternoon appointments. Vaccinations in the community are targeted for April 15th for those 16 and above. They're currently vaccinating students who are 16 and older who have perhaps an underlying health condition that puts them at higher risk. So that's kind of the timeline that the county reviewed with us on Tuesday. The vaccinations will be done just like all other groups. It'll be done through the county, through private doctors, the way it's been rolled out at super stations. The schools will not be giving it due to the refrigeration requirements. I am going to drop an address in the chat that goes directly to an explanation of the COVID testing and how to sign up for it if you're interested. It's optional for students coming on campus. We highly recommend it because that is how we keep each other safe, since we know that a lot of people who have it do not have symptoms. So that is the basics on COVID testing and vaccinations and where to find information.
Great. Thanks, Sasha. So another question that came up in, or a point that came up in a lot of the parent comments was this idea around social emotional concerns and social emotional support for students. And we understand that everybody is processing this last year very differently. And we recognize that, there's a lot of emotion tied up with coming back to school. There's excitement, there's anxiety, there's nervousness. And so one of the things that we've really been working a lot with our teaching staff is to provide them with resources and supports around this idea of supporting students' social and emotional concerns and their well-being and development. And so at the very beginning of the year, we really prioritized, and you can see there on the screen in green, the idea of connecting. And what you're seeing is a screenshot of a resource website that we created internally for our teaching staff to provide them with additional resources and tools around how do I support kids making connections in a virtual environment. And what we're really going to be doing this year as we shift back on April 12th to in-person learning for some of our students is an idea of reconnecting. And so just this afternoon, we had a staff meeting where we had some staff members share a variety of different resources and strategies to help ensure that both students who are online and students who are in person, that we're really addressing the emotional aspect of what they've all been through and what they've processed. If you read through the comments that our students made about what they're most excited about, most of the students, almost 8, 9 times out of 10 said, I'm excited to see my friends, I'm excited to see my teachers. And it really highlighted, the human aspect of the educational process. And, at Claremont with our staff, we talk a lot about that we fundamentally believe that learning happens within the context of trusting and loving relationships. And that's why we make a lot of the decisions we make in terms of our academies and students looping with teachers and cohorting our students so that they have that stable grouping built in and those supports built in and the ability and time to develop some of those relationships. So that definitely is a focus for us, knowing that coming back to campus, or for some of our students, for our 9th graders coming to campus for the very first time, that we want to really prioritize helping make sure that we support them through what can be an emotionally and mentally challenging time, challenging transition. Another piece of information that we received was that there are some families who are reporting that they're not receiving all of the communication that we send out. Some families reported that they were only receiving phone calls and not emails, or vice versa. And so what we would encourage families to do is go to our Claremont High School website, and under the news section, you're going to see a tab or a news article that says Connect with CHS. And what this will allow you to do is make sure that in PowerSchool, in your parent portal account, we have the most up-to-date email and email and phone number to reach you. Because when we send out all of our communication, it pulls directly from PowerSchool. So whatever email, whatever phone number is on file, those are the phone numbers and emails that the information will be sent to. So we encourage all families, even if you have been getting them, to just double check and make sure there aren't any old numbers or old emails on there. We don't want to be sending information to the wrong people. And then also to make sure that we have the right information, because we definitely want to be sending information to the right people.
That darn mute button. Sorry, folks. So another concern that we wanted to discuss today was a lot of families are having difficulty and curiosity about the Marston pickup and drop off with our CHS times of pickup and drop off. So we recognize that these times for families may be challenging and will create traffic issues. We did make every effort to work with Principal Golias to address this. However, the district transportation informed us that our start and end times could not be adjusted. So we are hopeful that a reduced number of students attending both sites will limit the traffic issues, but please just make sure to be aware of that. After school clubs will be permitted to meet on campus. However, prior to any clubs meeting, they will need to go through that approval process. So the club approval process is outlined on our website under Campus Life on that tab on their homepage. Students who are interested in starting or renewing their club should reach out to their club advisor and discuss completing all that paperwork to get their club up and running.
Another question that some of our families shared was an issue that potentially is presenting itself for some of our student athletes or students that wish to participate in clubs. So school obviously gets out at 12:55, and for some of our students who have practice or games after school, they may have a large break in time between when that second period bell ends and their practice begins. And so one of the things that we want to do to make available to our student athletes and students participating in clubs is the ability to stay on campus in our CHS library, where they can use that as a study hall period. They can use that time to get work completed, prepare for tests, work on assignments, and we'll have some CHS staff in there to support that learning lab as well. So the one caveat to that is if students are going to come to the library after school until their practice, they can't come and go multiple times. So they're coming to the library and they're in there until either they go to practice, until they leave to either go home or go off campus to get a snack. But we can't have students coming back and forth to that library. But that will be available starting Monday, April 12th for students who wish to be in the library. So there was a question earlier about Chromebooks and personal devices. So I want to kind of address that briefly. Many of our students are using district provided Chromebooks. And some of our students are using personal devices, personal laptops, things like that. So both of those devices are acceptable to be used on campus. Students can bring their personal laptop or personal device to campus, and the staff will work with them to make sure that their device is connected to our Wi-Fi. One of the things that we want to make clear, though, is in a previous slide, we talked about, or excuse me, in the video, we talked about the IT department here in San Diego having a hotline that students or families could call into if they were having issues. That IT hotline is reserved specifically for students who have a district-provided Chromebook. So if you do have an issue with a personal laptop, that would be something that you or your family would have to work out individually on your own. The question earlier was, if my child has a course like PE or band where they may not be using a Chromebook, do they need to bring that? And so what I would encourage you to do in that particular instance is reach out to your child's teacher, send them a quick email and just ask them that question. I know today in talking with Coach Kim and Coach Smerschel, our PE teachers, both of them are kind of have some similarities in how they're going to run their classes, and both of them are thinking about trying out some things that are a little different depending on where they're going to have their class, whether that be down on the soccer field or in the grassy area outside the weight room. So those teachers would be best equipped to answer those questions. So I'd encourage you to email them if you have questions about what your child will need for the class. And the other thing is tomorrow afternoon, our teachers are going to be having some time to create an email to our Q4 students, whether those be in person or online. And in that email, it will share with students a copy of their syllabus, a link to any Zoom links that they're going to use for their at-home online learners, as well as a link to their Google Classroom or to their Canvas page for the students. And so that would be a perfect time to respond to that email if it's not answered in their syllabus. Asking them specifically if there's any additional items they need to bring, or if the student might not need to bring that laptop. Another thing that came up was families had some questions about how do I take care of my district device? And so our IT department here in San Diego Unified has put together a number of resources to assist students and families in properly caring for and cleaning their device. The IT department is also going to be hosting some Zoom sessions or Zoom rooms that students and families can access to discuss any tech-related issues live and via Zoom with a member of the IT department. So a copy of the Zoom support schedule and the way that you can access those Zoom rooms, as well as the additional resources we talked about, are going to be posted in my swag this week. So please be sure to check that out if you have any questions about any of the Chromebook supports or job aids that our district has created. So, all right, so that is a lot of us talking. I noticed there were a couple questions in the chat, so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing our screen right now. And what we want to do is give you an opportunity either in the chat, or you can raise your hand or put up your virtual hand, and we're happy to call on you. And if there are any questions that we didn't answer or any concerns that you wanted to share, we're happy to give you guys a chance to share those now. So I'm going to quickly look here through our...
So there was a couple questions regarding athletics and the students, obviously our students who are athletes and using lockers. Unfortunately, lockers at this time under our current conditions are not able to be utilized. So what most of our students have done in the past is they carry their equipment in their athletic bags from class to class. And luckily there's only 2 classes at this time. Or if they have a coach on campus, most coaches will let them leave their equipment in their rooms. But unfortunately, we're just not able to let them use their lockers. And obviously if things change as we progress, we'll of course let them know as soon as possible. But right now the locker rooms are not able to be utilized. So the athletes that do need to change into their equipment can utilize the restrooms at the occupancy level that they are able, and kind of go from there.
Looks like the next question Heidi had was, if students were using a desktop computer at home, how do they access a district provided Chromebook? So at this point in time, Claremont High School is no longer a distribution site for those Chromebooks. So your best bet would be to reach out to the IT hotline and ask them where those updated distribution sites are, and they'll work with you to identify a location for you to pick those up. So we'll put that number for the IT hotline in the chat here in just a second.
And as far as our athletes are concerned for eating lunch, there will be able for them to grab the lunch and sit outside in our quad area. They just need to maintain their 6-foot distance, and they can't eat on campus. If they want to go to the library after school, after they eat their lunch outside, they can do that to do some work until their practice starts. So that will be also available to our athletes after school.
Great. Looks like there was another question about if we can't make the assigned book pickup time, will there be a chance to pick up the books another time or date? And the answer to that is yes. One of the things that we try to do is limit the number of students who are coming to campus. We don't want folks waiting in long lines or things like that. But if on an individual level, if there's a day that works better for you, simply email me and let us know, and we can make sure that you're approved to come on those days. But we'll also have days next week on Tuesday and Thursday where students can pick up books if they need. So there will definitely be additional opportunities, and all of those dates and times will be in the weekly swag.
Another question regarding PE and PE uniforms. So at this time, their locker rooms, like we said earlier, are not able to be utilized for students to change. Therefore, the PE teachers will not be requiring athletic wear for PE for the remainder of this year.
All righty, it looks like there was another question about laptops as well. So Cheryl, the same answer. We'll toss in the chat here in just a moment the number for IT, and we encourage you to reach out to them, and they can assist you with identifying where additional laptops, or excuse me, Chromebooks can be picked up.
I had a question about medical forms for any families who have traditionally had asthma action plans, inhalers on campus, take medications at school. The website that we posted also has uploaded forms if it's easier for you for getting orders from your doctor to the school. If you've never done that before, I can help you through the process, or you can email me directly and I can send you a PDF copy of whatever form you might need.
Awesome. Looks like there's another question about the study skills class. So yes, so as far as the study skills class, one of the things we wanted to do was take a look at, with the teachers who are teaching those courses, to look at the rosters and the students that indicated that they wanted to come back, and those that indicated that they would prefer to learn online. Did I freeze?
The internet froze on you, William. Sorry about that.
Oh my goodness. Well, I always say, hopefully I made a really goofy face and you guys all got a good screenshot of that. So it also gives me a second chance to give this answer. So as far as the study skills class, we're going to be reaching out to those families and the teachers who teach those to talk about specifics about those courses happening during flex time. Will athletes still enter and exit at the cul-de-sac? Yeah, so Amy, that is still going to be the main point of entry for the athletes. Obviously, for the athletes who choose to stick around campus on in the library, they'll exit campus, go to the main parking lot through that single point of entry and exit, and then they'll head to that cul-de-sac as well, like they've been doing every day. Awesome, Michael. We are ready to have your son back as well. I'll tell you, yesterday was the first day that we had staff back, and as you can imagine, there's lots of plans and preparation that go into that day, and I would be lying if I said I wasn't a little anxious or a little nervous, but seeing the staff back on Monday, it just was such an exciting time. There were a number of staff members who, hadn't really seen one another in over a year. And Claremont has always prided itself on being a family. We're one of the smaller high schools in the district. And I think that is a net benefit to us, right? For a lot of the families who are on this Zoom, I've had the chance to have conversations with you, sit at basketball games with you while we watch your son play, or, a variety of different events. And so, I think that one of the things that's really is exciting and that we don't want to ever miss or lose as we're working to prepare for students to come back is ultimately, this is a great step for students. It's a great step for our community and for the families. And so we're super excited. We're looking forward to getting kids back on campus because they're the reason we do this. And, this Claremont High School family has been apart for too long. So we're excited, and we hope to see everybody soon on Monday. Well, if there are no other questions, I'm going to kind of talk and stall while I pull up that IT hotline number for you all. But if there are any final questions, please feel free to toss them in the chat and we'd be happy to answer those.
I have a quick question. This is Heidi. I'm looking at your latest email here from this morning, I think. Or it was on April 5th. So I need to do the parent acknowledgement on-site school instruction form and the opt-in survey submission.
So yeah, there's some confusion about that. Those are one in the same. When the district labeled it a parent on-site survey, this long title, I think most families wondered, what in the world is this? And so when we said, it's really an opt-in form or an opt-in survey, it's just that one form that you have.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Yep.
Andrea, you have your hand up. Do you have a question?
Yeah, sorry, I tried to put it in the chat, but it was a little lengthy. So I was just wondering the difference between the virtual and the online instruction. How are the teachers going to do both? I know you were saying that this is a new thing for them, but for the in-person instruction, how will that be different from being at home?
Sure. And honestly, that was one of the biggest questions that a lot of families had. And, if I were in your shoes, I would wonder the same thing, right? At the end of the day, is my child coming to campus to sit in a desk at a computer Zooming from something they could have done the same thing at home? And what we shared with our teaching staff is, first and foremost, we don't believe that's best practice for students. Students are coming back to campus, learning is social, and to the greatest extent possible, we want kids to be able to interact with their teachers here on campus and interact with their peers. The other technical piece of this is in terms of the bandwidth that it really takes to have 500 kids on a campus Zooming at the exact same time. I mean, that is a heavy lift for our IT department and for the internet capabilities that we have at Claremont. And then third, one of the things we shared with staff is just kind of the planning that goes into that. Vice Principal Thomas and myself and our site technician, Steve Durham, had the chance to sit in a class and try some different scenarios out with teachers. And one of the things that our teachers found out was, if I'm hosting Zoom for both the students at home and the students in person, and I create breakout rooms, one of the challenges we find is that unless all of the students in my class are wearing headphones, you start to get a lot of feedback, overlap of conversations, and it just really is not, it's not feasible. So we've really encouraged our staff to utilize a couple different resources. There was a resource from the IT department about successful simulcasting, and really best practice asked teachers to think about grouping the students at home into students that could be on the breakout room or attend via Zoom, and then the students in class would be receiving live in-person instruction. Now, those students might still need to bring their computers to campus because teachers may be posting work on their Google Classroom or having them do research or look up articles or things like that. So there still is a need for those in-person learners to bring their computers to class. But really everything that we're hearing from the field, we had a chance to hear from some teachers who are outside San Diego Unified and talk to us about some of the work that they've already been doing. And really a lot of the feedback that we received was having students come in to campus and having them all Zoom just really doesn't work. And so we've done our best to provide teachers with all the necessary resources and supports to make that happen. But we really anticipate that a lot of the students who are at home will Zoom into the class like through a live simulcast, and the students who are on campus will receive direct instruction, not quite in the traditional sense, and that teachers aren't walking about the classroom. We're not moving students into breakout rooms sitting right next to one another, but that the majority of it shouldn't happen on Zoom for the in-person learners.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. There was a question in the chat about transportation. So right now, the students who are eligible for transportation are special education students who have transportation on their IEP, or the students who are eligible for transportation through our VEEP or through our choice program. And so at this point in time, students who are eligible should be receiving an email from the district's transportation office identifying their pickup time and their pickup location, and then their drop-off time and drop-off location. So if you haven't received that and you believe your child is eligible for transportation, I'd encourage you to email myself or Ms. Thomas, and we can look into your specific request.
Just a quick clarification, it's actually just for our special education students and our VEEP students. Choice students are not transported.
Thank you, Vice Principal Thomas. Excellent. Well, I see in the chat that there's a parent that said they haven't received it, but I just see a phone number. So if you can definitely email us and let us know your student's name, we'd be happy to look into that for you. And we'll toss our emails in the chat.
And I came in late. Where is this going to be posted?
So this video will be posted on our school's main website on the homepage.
Thank you.
And the video that we showed at the beginning that was emailed out to students and families, there's already a link to that on our homepage. On that main photo carousel, there's a school reopening photo, and you click on that and it takes you directly to the YouTube video that we showed at the beginning and emailed out to all of the students. Excellent. Well, we are happy to stick around, but if you're at all like me, the second you click out of this Zoom, you're going to think of 5 to 10 questions that you wish you would have asked. Our virtual door, our emails are always open, so please feel free to email us. Let us know if you have any questions or concerns. Like I said, or we said early in the presentation, we're finalizing the list of the opt-in forms that we've received. And so we'll be reaching out to families later this evening, or hopefully by no later than tomorrow morning, letting them know that either we've received it and their child is all set for April 12th, or that we haven't received it, and seeing if there's anything we can do to support them in getting that completed. Stefan, as long as if the Android tablet with the keyboard is what your child has been using and is comfortable with to access the Zoom already, that should be sufficient for the student in the class. But what I would encourage you to do, like I said earlier, is to reach out to your child's teacher and just ask them, can you tell me a little bit about what my child will be using the computer for in the class? Because it may vary from class to class, right? How we use a computer in band or PE or art may look a little different than if or how we use it in our English or our history classes. Alrighty, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We are looking forward to Monday. We're excited. I see a couple students on our call. So if we haven't met you yet, to those chieftains, we're excited to see you Monday, and everybody have a great rest of your week.